This is a CAD 9 Cannondale?
Yes, this is a lady specific.
Okay.
The size of this bike is generated, the number size on this bike is generated from the distance between the middle of the crank arm here and the top of the seat post. So this particular one measures out to be a 44. So this is a 44 centimeter women's specific bike. So we've already got Jess measured for her standover height, which is this size. It's a 44 centimeter bike. She actually has this model bike, only the next one up, that we built for her this year, and she's been racing on it, so she's been doing a pretty good job at that. So after we know that the height is the right size for her, the next thing that we would do is we would take a measurement of her shoulders across here. All right, and once we establish what the width of her shoulders are, we would then come down and measure the width of the handlebars. Okay, so the width from center to center on this handlebar is a 38, and when we look at her shoulders, that's what we have. We have 38. So that's a pretty good fit for her, which will give her the proper positioning while she's riding in the hoods on her bike. Now these handlebars come in different widths, so you have to be careful because you may have a wider shoulder or a thinner shoulder. And what's going to happen is if you took a handlebar like this, you would come and we measured it, you would see that it's much wider than the handlebar that's already on this bike. So this would be based on, again, someone's shoulder width that we would get the right size. Now the one that's on this bike in front of me is a 38, and this happens to be a 42. So they come in 38, 40, 42, 44, and sometimes you can find 46s out there. So they would be your handlebar widths. So that would be the second most important thing on buying a bike off the shelf. Now we do change these out for people, which a lot of stores will not change. We will make sure that the handlebar width fits you and you're comfortable on the bike before you go. So once we get the frame size, the handlebar width, then the next step is putting you in a trainer and taking some measurements and making sure we get the seat height in the right position, making sure your distance from the seat to the handlebars is proper, and we may change the stem out, elevate it, lower it, to get you in that right position where you're comfortable riding this bike. And again, fit is not it's not an exact. You can't come in and get a fit and walk out and say that's it. There's a flow to it. So what we do is when we fit somebody to this bike, they would come in, we would fit them in the store. Then they would go out and ride for a couple of weeks, and then they would come back and we would discuss whatever issues they may have or may not have. And because once you leave the store and ride this bike outside, you're going to get a different feel because you're going to have some wind resistance, so it's going to push you back and up a little bit. So we want to make sure that we take that into consideration after a couple of weeks of riding. Then you come back, we'll tweak it for you. After that, you're usually pretty good. That's part of the deal. If you buy a bike from us, we put the bars on.
So you really get somebody comfortable on the bike before they leave?
That's what it's all about.